Welcome to the Fight Game. He's Icewater. I'm Puma. And Ice, who we're going to start out with in our discussion in this episode?
Let's do it this way. I want to talk about Shakur Stevenson, right? He was scheduled to fight Frank Martin, who's undefeated, and it's supposed to be a hell of a fight. But they're saying that the two sides, there's something happening where the talks broke off, and it's been that fight's not going to happen. Frank Martin was undefeated, still comes out of the same camp with with Jamel, with Charlo, one of the Charlos, and also Errol Spence Jr. And it was supposed to be a great fight, match up, two undefeated fighters. It was even going to be sanctioned by one of the parties. But the biggest thing is when you think about it from the standpoint, Shakur wanted to fight, other group, Frank Martin pulled out. I think there's a reason for that, not just the money. I'm not sure if they think he's ready for that time. So now I think Shakur is going to find another opponent, maybe not on the same caliber, to fight in November to try to stay sharp. But I think that tells you something about what people think about Shakur Stevenson. Also, he had put out a challenge to Lomachenko, and that was kind of pushed to the side, like, nah, we good. So I just think, with all this stuff, drama, people talking about Shakur Stevenson should have taken the low ball offer that he received from Devin Haney. I think it says a lot about people knowing what's real and whether or not you want to take that chance in your career against this guy who's up and coming.
When you told me about this before the show, I kind of thought about, a lot of people don't want to see Shakur Stevenson at this particular point in their career. I mean, he's a hell of a fighter. He's a hell of a fighter, and I got a lot of respect for him. I remember you mentioning the Lomachenko fight with him, and I was like, is he ready for that yet? But I think he is. I think he can step up and do what he needs to do, especially after he saw the Haney fight with Lomachenko. I think he kind of saw some things and they're like, hey, I can really kind of go with this guy. And one of the things I like about Shakur Stevenson is that he has no fear of anybody in boxing. He will go up toe to toe with anybody. And you got to appreciate that with a fighter who is not ducking fights. He wants to fight the best of the best, and he believes in his ability anytime he goes out there.
No doubt. And I think that's key. Plus, too, you see the style, right? Mm-hmm. And the way that he fights, you have to be definitely impressed by that. And from that standpoint, that's why I said when they talked about the low ball offer, people were like, well, he should just do it so he can prove who he is. I'm like, well, why would you? That fights, when they do fight, that fight's even more lucrative for him in another year and a half. He has no rush on it. So why not wait and get the real money to prove to everybody that you're the tougher guy? You can get the belts. The belts are coming. He just moved up in weight. So why not make a little bit more extra money? And if Devin Haney is the truth as he's moving forward and taking these belts from other people, when he steps up and they do meet, let's say in another year and a half or maybe two or even sooner than that, it's going to make the win, if he is able to pull it off, even more impressive.
Coming up on September 30th, and about a couple of weeks from now, you have Alvarez against Charlo. This is something I've been waiting for because I've been saying for the last couple of years, I'm looking for Alvarez to fight at least one of the Charlo brothers. And now one of the Charlo brothers couldn't, but the other one said, hey, I'll take it. I'll do this. So your thoughts about this fight, man?
Yeah, well, we know that right now, Canelo Alvarez is the king of boxing. He sits on the throne. A lot of people love him, and he's been impressive by what he's done. He followed the Floyd Mayweather blueprint, care what y'all say. You know what he's doing. I mean, they watch very closely. After he took that loss to Floyd, they've been building ever since. Golden Boy can say what they want to when they had him with Oscar, but Oscar knew how that was working, and now he's with Independent, now signed with PBC. Whoever's in this corner knows exactly how they're going about the business, how to get these fights and how to win. Strong, what can you say? You know how he's going to come. I just know that I'm thinking Canelo has to be in shape. You can't half-ass do this one. You can't come in there halfway out of shape and walk people down and knock them out, a.k.a. Caleb Plant fight. Jamel Charlo is about the business. He may not be the biggest guy, but he has no fear. You talk about Shakur Stevenson. This guy, he got a switch, man. He got a crazy switch. Yeah. Boo. What you say? My mama. 245. I
Yeah.
don't care. I'll fight them. Put him in the ring. He had the crazy switch, which I think sometimes in boxing it can be helpful, can be detrimental. For him, I think it's going to be helpful because he's learning how to fight. He understands how to move and get things together, and he's not afraid to chance it. And he's like, why not? My brother had the opportunity. These are the fights I want. And for that, I think he gives him more respect than anybody could ever say. If he wins, he's the talk of the town. He's like one of the greatest of all time, right? If he loses and he does it in spectacular fashion, I took a shot. Come back down, come back in here, beat the hell out of some other people. But he's willing to take the shot. And he got a shot. He has a real good chance. He's not, people see him as smaller, but technically, when you see him, you walk around it, not a little dude.
Right, right.
And I just say that with the skill set, I think if he boxes and does what he's able to do, when he lost the two, or when he lost the first fight, and he came back, and then he tied, or whatever the second fight was, a draw against when I think it was Castano, when they had a draw, then he came back and won that fight, the second fight. If he fights the way that he's determined and coming in, I think it's gonna cause a problem for Canelo, and we'll see. I think he has more than a puncher's chance. I think he has a legitimate chance because he moves around and he's at angles, and he says, I throw punches at different angles that people don't see. And I don't think he's going to back up. Canelo is Canelo, but this is not Triple G, bro.
Yeah. And I see
40-year-old Triple G.
Yeah, I see Charlo as being the faster fighter. Canelo says he's always in shape and he's always ready to fight. So we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, look, you see that extra girth on him. That ain't what the cameras say.
Yeah, yeah, because he said, "Hey, I'm always in shape," and doing little videos. But we'll see. But I do see that Canelo has problems with fighters that are much faster than him, and I see Charlo being much faster. If he's coming at them with those weird angles, and he can't find him, and he's kind of what I call a ghost and hitting them with those angles, I don't see Charlo having a problem with him in this fight because I look at Canelo as being very slow. He's always been a very slow fighter.
Yeah, it'll be interesting for sure.
Benavidez and Smith, your thoughts on this fight?
Yeah, opportunity for Smith. Big time opportunity. Benavidez is right there. He knows he's just got to keep winning. But I think it's entertaining. It's engaging. I like we say, styles make fights. And while you say one guy may have the upper hand, you drop your guard, it could be over. That's what makes it more impressive and intriguing, because of the two have enough experience, could go either way. But depends on who shows up and how they show up that night of the fight. So I like the matchup. There's been a lot worse matchups in that division, but I like it because it's kind of open. Anything can happen.
Okay, let's go to the UFC. Last week there was a big fight, middleweight championship, and of course Sean Smith took down Israel. And I watched that fight, and we were on the phone during the fight, and I was looking at Sean Smith, his style and his defense. It was really on point, and it looked like he really did his homework fighting Israel, because Israel plays the distance game a lot. He'll put a fist out. He'll use the leg kicks. He was trying to use the roundhouse to the head, but it just seemed like Sean Smith was in the pocket, keeping good defense, rocked him a few times. And one of my buddies who was watching the fight, and he was texting me saying that he felt that after Israel got rocked, he didn't want any of that anymore, and he was keeping his distance and really trying to stay away from getting punched and getting taken down. Your thoughts about the fight?
No, I mean, I can understand that. One of the things I was saying, sometimes in that fight it seemed like Israel was going through the motions, right? And I think one of the things that he's done well over time, early on in particular, as he started to make his run, is the fact that he's a student of the game, and he has been a guy that's been able to find the weaknesses of his opponents and deficiencies, and he takes advantage of them. And it's like, I don't know if he just took this guy for granted, didn't think he's going to be that great, and he didn't prepare properly, but he just didn't seem like he was doing what he needed to do in order to combat, as you said, what was happening, right? This guy's attack. And I understand you mentioned about Smith and the defense and whatnot too, but I still think Israel is the superior fighter. It's kind of like you're fighting a guy that is pretty good, but he's not on your standard.
Mm-hmm.
But then once you figure him out, he should be able to bring you back. I look forward to a rematch. And if Smith has still been able to do what he did a second time, I think he might come in, with that, he was talking that during the match and trying to engage like he was this Rocky Balboa type. Come on, guy, my fight started. Like he was dominating because he wouldn't let him get him to fight. I like to see the rematch. I'm not sure that's gonna happen this time. Just because I think Israel will come in focused. And I don't know if he's playing this game where he's trying. I'm not saying he's faking it or nothing like that, Israel that is. But I'm not sure what's going on where he wants to have the comeback kid story. Because every time he comes back and wins, it's like Israel does it again. When he was down and out, nobody ever thought he would come back. But I think that's the difference between him and John Jones as one of the greatest of all time. Because John Jones doesn't play that game.
Yeah.
John Jones, he might be close, but in the end, you're gonna find a way to come back. And I think that's what separates the two of them from being perhaps maybe the greatest or one of the greatest in UFC history or MMA history.
Interesting you mentioned a rematch because the commentators were saying, there was one in particular, Cormier was saying that maybe it's time for Israel to kind of take a little break because he's been on this whirlwind for so many years and he's been, kind of dominating the middleweight division so many years that sometimes it takes a lot out of you. And maybe he needs to really take a step back. And I would like to see a rematch much later on, maybe 2 or 3 fights down the road with this. I think Israel needs some time. He needs some time to kind of get away, to see, what he's doing, what he needs to do differently to kind of get back on that domination kind of run again, to get the middleweight title or to go into different weight classes and do what he needs to do there. But when Cormier said that, I'm like, you know what? He may have something there because Israel did not look like he was interested in the fight at that particular time. It was just like you said, he was going through the motion, and maybe because he's a little burnt out.
Yeah, I can see that. But one, I'm looking at his age, right? I'm not sure. I'm trying to think about his age. Mm-hmm. And also, too, if he gets a taste of being away, does he want to come back?
Right.
Because what else do you really need to do? I mean, when you think about his career, I mean, you could say, unless you want to go up. And do you really want to go up? I mean, you know what I want to see. You're going to go up. You know what we need to see.
Yeah.
You need to come see John Jones.
Yeah.
That's what I want to see. Then you tell me that you perhaps are the greatest or one of the greatest of all time. You come up and face John Jones or find a way to do it. I don't know if John Jones will come back down anymore because he seems pretty comfortable with that weight.
Yeah, he seems pretty happy.
Yeah, like eating them extra biscuits and everything too. But so I think it would be hard to get him back down there. But if Israel takes a break, my question is, what will it take to bring him back?
Yeah, it would take a big time fight to bring him back.
Yeah, but I'm like, if he does walk away, I'm not sure we're gonna see him for a long time. And then will he be the same fighter? Because again, when you look at him right now, he's a Hall of Famer already, right? Beat some of the top guys. He beat his nemesis, the guy that first took him down in his other career, right?
Yeah.
But what else is there for him technically to get him motivated? But also, what else does he have to prove? Does he? I mean, can he retire now because they're one of the greatest of all time?
I wouldn't say he would retire now, but I think just a little break from the sport, a little break from the whirlwind, and kind of just readjusting. Kind of, why do you really want to do this? Do you really want to do this, and not go through the motions like he did? Because I've seen this in a number of fights, just not this fight. He seems to go through the motion, and I thought the last fight where he won his title back. I don't want to say it was a lucky punch, but it was fortunate that he threw it, and he caught the guy cold. So up until that particular point, I didn't see him doing anything spectacular that would have won him the fight.
Well, let me ask you that question though. If he does retire right now, which he probably wouldn't do because on a loss, he probably would fight. No. But if he was to retire after this fight and maybe another, is that good enough for him to be considered a Hall of Fame fighter?
I think because of his dominance over the years, I think it would be a strong consideration. I do. I do. Like you say, he took down some major guys in that weight class. So I think it's a strong consideration. But to solidify it, he needs to do more. Yeah. He's Icewater. I'm Puma, and this is the fight game.